Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. I am also the host of the Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. And as you know, we're always trying to make the paranormal normal. So today we're going to take a deep dive into one of the most controversial and debated paranormal things out there, essentially, which is UFOs. And we're going to talk about the mainstream science and basically why they're just missing the truth that's right in front of us. So we're lucky enough to have author R.L. Poole with us. He wrote the new book Cosmic Blind Spot: Why Neil deGrasse Tyson is Wrong About UFO Challenges and the Skepticism of the one of the world's most famous scientists. Excuse me, bear with me, guys. I'm dealing with allergy issues. So he's going to explore why so many experts dismiss UFOs and why the evidence is being overlooked and what it all means for humanity and our place in the cosmos. And with that, let's bring him on. RL, would you come on and kind of tell us what got you started into this field and what got you into the paranormal?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for that kind introduction and for having me on your podcast.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. As you could tell probably by the title of the book, I am directly and I would say aggressively confronting the scientific community. Awesome. And it is my desire to hold them accountable for what I believe is irresponsibly dismissing a phenomenon which is, I think, almost beyond contestation at this point. And it is one of the major factors which is enabling the denial of what I consider to be pseudo-skeptics. And so the thing that actually prompted the book was that I am an abduction experiencer, a lifelong abduction experiencer, and it began for me around the age of 6 years old and began to be really ramped up from about 2006 until a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And so during this time, I've had so many experiences, waking, conscious, real physical experiences with a species that we call the Greys.
Okay.
That I know that science is wrong. I know myself right. Because I experienced it. Right. So I decided to kind of back engineer what was going wrong, because for me, it wasn't a matter of knowing that it's true. I've experienced it many times. So I wanted to look at science and say, I know what is preventing them from being able to recognize or acknowledge this, we say phenomenon, but it's reality.
Right.
And you said something right there at the beginning that let me know I felt like I was in the right place, because you said making the paranormal normal.
Right.
And that's exactly right, that we are trying to, let's take the spooky away. I know that people love mysteries. I love mysteries too. But there is no paranormal. There is only normal that we cannot explain or do not yet understand. There is no supernatural. If it exists, it is natural. The super is just beyond our understanding. And so I began to take a very serious look at what science was saying about this phenomenon. And one of the most vocal and I might say unprofessional dismissers of this phenomenon is the very popular, world-famous Neil deGrasse Tyson. And what I began to notice is that he wasn't being scientific. To dismiss the phenomenon means you must be unscientific to do it. And that's what this book reveals, that this person who is worldwide acclaimed, went to Harvard, graduated from Columbia with a PhD, a sarcastic bearded guy covered in tattoos, just absolutely took him to school on science, because I realized that he was saying things that not only are not scientific, but highly misrepresentative of science. And the only genre in which he does this just happens to be the subject of UFOs, aliens, and alien abductions.
Crazy. It's almost like they're being spoon-fed this information, and this is what you need to say, almost like they're a pawn. They're just like trying to keep you from actually understanding the truth. They don't want that out there. And I've had tons of experiences. I've never been abducted. I've seen some strange things in the sky. I mean, we've dealt with cattle mutilations here, and we got completely shut down. FBI came through and,
Right.
No, right. You can't talk about that. And then that, basically just ruined everything. We had 6 or 7 witnesses that, witness this stuff. I mean, I had friends that were told to be quiet.
Yeah.
And so,
believe me, I've received my own fair share of warnings.
I'm sure.
Even consequences.
Right.
I don't care. Because the fact that they want to try this hard to cover things up tells you how important it is for you to know.
Right.
And so, and I think that you said something very right there, that it's almost as though they're being told what to say. It's almost as though someone is being given attention and fame and talk shows, and all they have to do is repeat these talking points over and over and over again. And it really works. It really works, because I hear people quoting him all the time, thinking they understand science when they really don't. And I'll give you a free example, okay?
Okay.
One of the things, this is his big lead-in to people who say that these things exist. He says, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Oh, that's so poetic, isn't it? It's very catchy.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, bro. Oh, really? Because the last time I checked science, and I've been a scientific person, a civilian scientist, not in the academic community, but that isn't how science works. There are no extraordinary claims in science. There are only claims. You see, extraordinary is a subjective value placement that we place over something, and in science we don't do that.
Right.
There is no extraordinary evidence. There's only evidence, or a lack of evidence. Right?
Correct.
So he is training people to think unscientifically in order to participate in the psychological and intellectual denial of what is happening right in front of them.
Exactly. And that goes with pretty much any paranormal field. They're basically just saying, oh, that doesn't exist, this doesn't exist, blah, 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 because they don't want you to know it exists.
Right. And they, I think, honestly, they don't want to believe it exists. I believe that this isn't a matter of intellect. This isn't a matter of education. This is a matter of psychological denial of something that we find scary. Right. Something that if we admit this exists, then we also are tacitly admitting that it is out of our control. Right.
Right. Now, do you think the Greys want to be known? Do they want us to know that they exist?
In my experiences with them, and based on my observation of their behaviors, I think that they don't care. They don't care if we know. What they care about is that we don't get in their way. Yeah. I think that they perform in ways and use techniques that indicate deception, that they wish to work around our radar. They wish to evade air combat. They wish to, for instance, I was abducted at nighttime when I'm asleep, when no one's around, that they perform in ways that use deception. But they don't seem to be trying to hide themselves. They just wish to work in ways in which no one can interfere.
Right. Have you ever found any transplants in you? Any little pieces of metal or any shards or anything that you...
So let me tell you a story about that. That's a great question. You're referring, I believe, to implants.
Implants,
yes. Yes. And so I actually know that I have one because I think I woke up in the middle of the procedure.
Oh, jeez.
And so I have been abducted. I wake up and I'm laying on a table, and all I can see is white light. The whole ceiling is white. The wall is white, like an LED screen. There's a glow, but it's not bright. There's no bulbs. It just seems to just be white everywhere. Yeah. And it appears also to be domed, and I don't know, but that was my impression at the time. And I'm laying there, and I look up, and I look down, and I see something down around that area, and I'm just laying there. And when you're taken, at least my experience is, when they have you laying on a table, it's not that you can't get up, but it's like really hard to move. It's like it's pulling you down to it.
Yeah.
And all I can do is just raise my head slightly, and I look over to the right, and I can see what looks like a silver medical tray on a stand. And I'm laying there, and I'm just like, okay. And then all of a sudden, one of these grays, he leans over me, and he goes, huh! And he looks over, and he startles at the fact that I'm awake. And I did not panic. I know that when we panic, bad things happen. So I wanted to let him know that I see you, and I just smiled, but nothing that could be interpreted as aggressive or angry or surprised. And he immediately reaches over and grabs something off of the tray, and it was like a metal rod that had like little striations around it and a little ball at the end, and he reached over and grabbed it and touched me in the head, on the head with it. And then I woke up in my bed. I just sat up like this. And whenever I've been abducted, I have what I call the abduction hangover. I feel hot, thirsty. I feel gross. I want to wash my hands and my face. I feel like I've been just touched everywhere. And so I'm going in there, and I'm doing that, going through my little ritual, drinking water out of my hand, and I feel I have something in my lip now. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
And then I looked in the mirror, and I saw, I have a red spot there, exactly where I remember him touching me with that device. They have a way of like rendering you instantly unconscious.
Wow.
And then I had it in my lip for quite a while, and it was driving me crazy. And I was this close to cutting it out myself, because it was right in my lip, and I'm like constantly messing with it. I'd bite my lip while I'm eating food, just not in a very good place. A few weeks after I moved to Pennsylvania, I moved here because I thought it would be cool, like Transylvania. It's not, but I'm staying at a friend's house, sleeping on the couch, and I wake up one morning, and it's gone. Oh, it's gone. Hey, nice, right? And then I go in and I go to wash my face, and now it's behind my ear.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I think when I woke up on the table, they kind of panicked and said, okay, just get it done. Just put it right there in his lip. Don't waste any time. Just do it quickly and get it done. And then later, I think they revisited it upon abducting me again and said, put this in his lip. All right, we need to move this to some place where it's not going to be interfered with, noticed, or could be easily extracted.
Right. So what do you think that was? What do you think they put in you?
I think that it is a tracking device. The way that we tag moose
Right.
or we tag deer, it's the same thing. It is marking me as property.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
You see, because I've noticed that these grays, and from what I understand, other species, they behave in certain ways, the way like a rancher would brand cattle. Well, that's the same thing. That it means taken, spoken for hours. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's my impression of it.
Right. And do you think there's other alien species out there or just the Greys?
Oh, no, they told me there are. Um, During a waking experience, a male gray actually got me off of the table and asked me to follow him and walked me around the ship and explained some things to me that might be very difficult for people to hear. But um, one of the things that he said, and it was strange, he was starting to walk and then he stopped, almost as though, like he thought of it all of a sudden. And he turned around and they speak to you in your head
Right.
telepathically. But it's weird because when they speak to you in your head, it's in your voice. So for a second, you feel like you're going mad because it's your voice talking to you in your head, but they're not your words. They're not your thoughts. It's a very strange feeling at first. And so he turns around and he looks at me and he says, I want you to know that there are several species which interact with your planet and they don't all like you.
Wow.
Yes. And he went on to explain that the reason they don't like us is because we are modified. We have been artificially tweaked and spliced, and we are not a naturally evolved species. We have been artificially evolved. And because of this, some of these other highly advanced and evolved species believe us to be an abomination, a chimera, a Frankenstein species, that they've had to work very hard to climb to the top of the evolutionary ladder, and they resent a species that has been artificially elevated.
Well, do you think they made us or is it just something else?
So this is the other thing he said to me in the same conversation he said, mankind will never be able to resolve the creation versus evolution debate because they're both correct. And we are, according to this gray, we are partially evolved primates, but then they saw us and they they selectively changed our DNA to create an evolution to a higher species. Then, later, about 15,000 years ago in our past, he told me they actually spliced some of their DNA into ours. And this is represented by certain things: extremely pale skin, blue eyes, allergies.
Yeah.
And that, no, he said that. I said, well, how does that, how do I know that? How does that manifest itself? And he just looked at me and he said, allergies. I said, allergies. And he said, have you ever seen a squirrel allergic to a tree? No. Okay. So your species is created on Earth, evolved on Earth, thousands of years on Earth. You're allergic to Earth? You see, this is their genes being represented in some way because it is not that gene's natural environment. So it is trying to deal with this foreign or alien environment to those particular genetics.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so all of this was centered around explaining to me why that they're doing this. And what he explained to me is that their species is so the way he started the whole conversation, the first thing I ever remember a gray saying to me was when he got me off the table. I followed him out of a door, and when we got out of the door, he turned around and he looked at me and he asked me a question. He didn't make a statement. He asked a question, and he said, "What do you do when evolution stops being your friend?"
Oh, that's a good question. You enhance it. You modify it some way.
So my response at the time was, "But evolution is our friend." And he said, "Not always. Not always." And he led me to this bench, which is a metallic bench, and had some kind of red lights, which strangely looked like predator symbols, but they appeared to be like numbers or something of a monitoring station. And sitting on the bench there was a cylinder, a tall, round cylinder with this yellowish, greenish, very transparent fluid. And inside was a small gray fetus, and its umbilical was attached to the top, the lid of this canister, and then these little pipes came out and went into the bench. And he said, "This is how we have to gestate our young, because as we have evolved, our brains have gone on a runaway train of evolution. And as the brain gets larger, the body gets smaller. As the brain is getting stronger, the body is becoming weaker." And so what he explained is that they are evolving out of existence. That's how old and ancient their species are, that they're evolving out of existence. He said that the females are too small to carry young to term or to survive giving live birth, that the males are often born either sterile or in some cases without genitalia whatsoever. And so what they have done is they have modified us to hybridize with, and they want to combine our big, tough bodies, our big, strong immune systems, and they want to combine that with their best traits and create a new species which will continue the line.
Wow. That's amazing.
I have to say, that conversation changed my thinking on everything, because the whole idea that evolution would not ever be our friend, that just, I could never imagine that concept, because I guess we're so low on the evolutionary scale. Is like there is no limit to evolution, but that is what he really demonstrated to me, was that even evolution has limits,
right?
And that they have reached theirs.
Well, if you think about it, if we started out as apes, we kind of became smaller, bigger, and stronger. I mean, smarter, and our brains probably got bigger, if you will, and our bodies have definitely gotten smaller. If you're looking at it that way, I mean, maybe
some of us could give them a run for their money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at how far we've come if we did start from an ape. And, you know, I research Bigfoot and stuff like that. So it kind of makes me wonder. I've heard that Bigfoots get abducted every once in a while by UFOs. And if I follow the hot spots around the country, it's really interesting to go back and pinpoint ghosts, Bigfoots, and UFOs. They're all hauntings. They're all kind of in the same area of the country. And it's like there's a whole lot of pins dropped at the same locations.
Ah, it's interesting.
But I'm just thinking that maybe they're trying to do something with Bigfoot as well, to, you know, maybe that's where we started, you know, kind of like a Bigfoot-like creature. We've evolved into what we are now from that. I mean, if we did evolve from apes or whatever, or they, you know, maybe we were Neanderthals and maybe they abducted us and, you know, did alien DNA with us and stuff like that. It could explain why we're still seeing, you know, Bigfoot-like creatures or Neanderthal-like creatures out there in the woods. Maybe they didn't get us all, and maybe there's still like a subspecies of us out there, you know, that is still living out there in the wilderness.
Yeah, so what we might have been
Right.
What we kind of like the original evolutionary line. That's entirely possible. One of the theories I've heard about Bigfoot is, and I'm by no means an expert on that. I'm an expert on extraterrestrials.
Right.
But I heard a theory once that someone said, well, maybe they're not being abducted. Maybe they're being put down on Earth to play, to eat, to do things for a while, and then they're simply taken back and returned to wherever they are kept. I think that's an interesting idea.
That's true. I've heard that something like that too as well. Maybe they were put here too, or maybe I've also heard that maybe they were the original species that was here.
Yes, and that's what I mean. That maybe they are the original line. They kept the original recipe just in case that they ever need it. But they are definitely interested in genetics. I've noticed a pattern that abductions that are repeated abductions tend to be of people who are firstborn. Firstborn genetics seem to be very important to them. I'm the firstborn of two firstborns,
that's cool.
for instance. Yeah. And so my parent, my mom, my dad, both firstborn. I'm the firstborn. And they seem to be very interested in that for some reason. Now, I know from even just a human understanding of biology that firstborn genetics tend to be the best. Not always, but tend to be according to statistics. So we see that they are being genetically selective, that they are hard. And when we read or hear the accounts of these abductions, what do we hear? They are centered around the collection of DNA from eggs from females. They are talking about gestating of fetuses. They are talking about meeting hybrid children. This is all around genetics. And what I felt like he did was filled in a lot of those gaps of my understanding and provided a sense of clarity that I would not have arrived at, even close, if I hadn't been told directly.
Yeah, you're not the first one to actually tell me that, which is interesting. We have a podcast guest, her name's Laura, and she's told us something very similar to that. That they kind of told her what was going on, and I don't know if she had a child. She showed him a child, but she was, I've heard that a lot too, so...
That actually happened to me as well. I met my child, and I did not realize it at first. But I had an experience. I was abducted, and I wasn't taken on board of a craft. I was actually taken back to my old apartment, which was empty. It was actually completely bare, completely empty, clean. And I come to myself and I'm wearing my pajamas still. And I'm at the sink washing my hands. And I have no idea why. But I'm very excited. See, they have this way, and it's hard to explain, but they have this way of keeping you kind of out of it. That you kind of know what's going on, but you kind of don't know what's going on. And it's a way, I think, of keeping you awake, but harmless. Yeah. And so anyway, I'm washing my hands, and I'm very excited about something, and I don't know what I'm excited about. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to dry my... Oh, the only thing in the entire place is a towel that has been laid out perfectly flat. And it's my towel. My favorite towel has a little cute fox on it that I like. And so I grab the towel and I dry my hands and I throw it over my shoulder, and I'm looking around as though I'm waiting for something, expecting something. It feels like Christmas.
That's
but
awesome.
I don't know why. And then the door opens all of a sudden, and in walks a little boy and a very, I would say, awkwardly disguised female gray. This is very late at night. It's dark. But she's wearing a bright blonde wig. She has bright red lipstick. She is wearing like this very pretty dress. And then over that, a beige raincoat. And then a hat. She looks like someone in disguise. It's like you looked up disguise and then just followed all of the instructions. And when they come in, I just flip. I see him and I just flip out. And I'm like, oh. Now, the problem. The problem is that my son, my actual human son, had died not too long before that.
Oh, geez. I'm so sorry.
No, it's thank you. But when I saw this little guy, he looked just like me.
Oh, wow.
So did my son. And when I saw him, because I was kind of still out of it from whatever they do to you,
Right.
I completely misunderstood the situation. And I thought it was my son, again, as a little boy,
Dang.
being brought back to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I became very emotional. And I ran over to him and I grabbed him and I hugged him. And I said, "Oh my God, where have you been? I've been looking everywhere for you. Don't do that again. Okay?"
Wow.
This little boy looks up at me with these giant blue eyes. And he says, "Don't do what again?"
Oh, wow.
And I realized we don't know each other. You've never met me, and I've never met you. And I just hugged him and I said, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. I love you. And then I felt a tap on the back of my head and I woke up in my own bed.
Wow.
Still crying with the towel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So they will talk to you sometimes. And so I didn't know if they were listening, but I sent out a message and I said, "I'm really sorry. I misunderstood. And I hope that I didn't scare anyone because it was a misunderstanding." They were not aware of my recent loss. See, they can read your mind, but they don't keep track of your day-to-day. They don't care, honestly. Yeah. But I explained, I recently lost a child and I misinterpreted what this was due to the state that you had me in and that trauma. Those two things, I misread everything. And they actually said, "You did nothing wrong at all. No one is upset. No one was afraid. The problem was that I broke protocol. I guess there was a whole thing that was supposed to happen of them introducing him and there being some kind of protocol, and I wasn't supposed to touch him. That they have a big thing about no touch, no touchy. And I reached over and just grabbed him and hugged him, So I just broke every rule, violated everything, and they said it was actually okay. Yeah. That everything was fine. But they have these strange rules about things. And one of the rules seems to be that any hybrid child, they have to meet their parent, both of them. And so that's what this was about, was him meeting his human father.
Well, that's cool. At least you got the opportunity to meet him. So we're running out of time, unfortunately. We only have like a couple minutes left. Do you want to tell us anything else about let me try that again. Do you want to tell us anything else about your book before we go? Sure.
And I want to say again, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a real fun time talking to you about really hard things.
Yeah. Exactly. I've enjoyed the heck out of this conversation. So
I'd love to come back sometime, maybe.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get back for sure.
Thank you. The book is called Cosmic Blind Spot: Why Neil deGrasse Tyson is Wrong About UFOs. And it's available on Amazon, and it premiered as the #1 new release in cosmology. So I would encourage people to pick up the book. I have it in every single format. I have it very reasonably priced, and this is not about, I have books about my abductions, but this is about the science, the reason, and the methods that scientists are using to lie to us, to keep us in the dark, and to keep us unprepared. And that is my issue with this, that when people feel that there's nothing out there, they will keep their guard down. They may become susceptible to abductions like I have, and we have to stop this cycle of denial when the facts tell us the exact opposite.
Very interesting. And we will have his information linked below to his book, so you guys can go check that out and maybe order one. I would highly recommend it. He's a very interesting guy. We've talked to a lot of different people that have been abducted, and it's always interesting to hear the stories and how similar they are and stuff like that. So thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it, and we will catch you guys on the next one.